Hello, welcome to this latest podcast from the NHS in Staffordshire and Stoke-on-Trent. And today we're talking about childhood vaccinations and immunisations. I'm Andy Downton. Joining me are Helen Farnworth and Gill, Boast, both General Practice Nurse Facilitators in the ICB. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
And it's quite a personal one for me this week because my wife and I recently adopted a 3-year-old. And so childhood vaccinations, immunisations, it's quite important, isn't it?
They're very important. I would say if we're thinking about the importance of clean water, then vaccinations are second in importance in that respect, really. So we're very lucky in this country, the programmes we're able to offer, starting with the primary immunisation schedule for the first, second and third IMS at 8 weeks, 12 weeks and 16 weeks. And then moving on to more booster kind of programmes to boost up what we've already administered in those primary IMS. And then before going to school, and then the school health programmes as well. So it's covering a whole wide range of diseases which, we've been able to not see any longer in this country, although sadly because uptake has gone down since the pandemic particularly, we are seeing the re-emergence of some of those diseases.
I'm going to come back into that bit because that's a really important bit for me. But I know that when our child came to us, they had a big red book with everything in it. I was going through looking at it all. I'm guessing every child probably gets that. So what are those sort of milestones, what are those stages that children have to get immunised?
Gill mentioned them a moment ago that, we have the primary 3 course when they're very little, so 8, 12 and 16 weeks, followed by a 12-month vaccination, and then a 3-year, 4-month vaccination. That's in primary care. We also offer boosters, or those children that are homeschooled, those who have missed vaccinations, and in certain areas there's a big responsibility for primary care to offer vaccinations to children that perhaps have missed them. They've probably come from other countries. They perhaps were poorly when they were due. So it's not just a standard programme. We have a lot of children, certainly in certain areas, that need extra support, and their families need extra support, making sure that they're up to date with our schedule, not just schedules that they've perhaps followed elsewhere, or coming with having had vaccinations but they don't know what they were and when they were.
So what are the things that we're vaccinating against?
So in the 6-in-1 vaccination that the 8-week, 12 and 16-week-olds have, we have diphtheria, tetanus, whooping cough, we have HIB, polio, yes, and hepatitis B. And we're also able to offer meningitis B and Rotarix vaccine, which is, to protect them against quite a nasty diarrhoea and vomiting kind of disease with rotavirus. So, and that's with the 8-week IMS, and then obviously we're able to offer a pneumococcal vaccination at the 12 weeks, again with the 6-in-1, and another dose of the Rotarix, and then a further dose of meningitis B at 16 weeks. So it may seem to parents that it's a lot of vaccination, but because they're combined in a vaccine, it's quite straightforward from a administration point of view, and with most vaccines you can expect a little bit of a reaction, maybe a little bit of a lump, a little bit sore maybe for a few days, but that's a good thing. We know the body's actually taking up the vaccine well.
And that long list of sort of conditions that you mentioned there, the things that we don't really hear about other than within a vaccine, is that sort of the reason why, or one of the reasons we don't know the answer to this, we can only sort of surmise or interpret, but because we don't hear about them every day, we start to think less and less and don't really think about how, in some ways, deadly some of these could be.
Absolutely, because they're not seen any longer. Maybe we can get a little bit complacent, but unfortunately they are re-emerging, some of these diseases. We are seeing some diphtheria, measles, mumps, for instance, is on the increase. So it's really vital that we do try and promote the importance of the vaccine schedules to everyone, really.
And not just for this country, because our children will travel the world's their oyster now. Lots will go abroad, and these are vaccinations that will protect them for that travel, sort of moving forward as well.
If a child did develop one of these conditions, I'm guessing because we're vaccinating against them, they can have a very serious impact on their lives.
Well, yes. However, I would say that no vaccination is going to be 100%. So, that would be an impossible ask, really. So even if unfortunately you might still get the disease, because you've had a vaccination, you shouldn't have it quite as seriously as you would if you had no immunity at all. So it's still important, even though there is the chance that there won't be 100% protection, because it will give you some protection.
So let's go to the getting the vaccines then. So I've got the red book. I can see that at 3.5 we're going to have to go and get their boosters done. So I'll probably get in a phone call or a text or a letter to come through to say,
yes,
book an appointment, come on in, and then we go in, and I'm guessing my experience of jabs recently is quite almost a production line of get in, sit down, get your sleeve up, jab in the arm, off you go, because it's that quite flu, COVID, it's almost a routine now, isn't it, getting that. I'm guessing for children it's not quite that.
No.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of information that's given over, not only verbally, but there's leaflets that we can offer as well to support whatever we need to discuss at the time, whether that be the vaccinations themselves or follow-up, whether that's extra precautions with taking paracetamol following meningitis B vaccination. So there's a lot of information, but practices have a remit, and there is guidance on how long you should get, or the minimum guidance on how long appointments should be, so they should have enough time to go through any concerns with a patient or parents at the time.
Measles, we've seen nationally I think it's a 10-year low in the number of children being vaccinated, and we've spoken in a previous episode about it, but measles, a very dangerous disease.
It's a highly infectious disease. Obviously very easy to catch. It makes children very unwell with lots of side effects, which unfortunately can be absolutely catastrophic. Obviously brain infection, that sort of thing, deafness, really difficult things to deal with. So, and the vaccine, highly effective. But we do need enough people to be having it to ensure that we have enough herd immunity for protection for all, really. It's a great shame we're seeing it. Obviously it is a childhood disease that I myself had, but I was fortunate enough not to be left with any long-term sequelae. But it can be absolutely devastating, yeah.
Other diseases returning, which we thought were nearly at one point exist, things like polio.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, they found wild strains in the sewage within London, so a big campaign to make sure that everybody was offered the vaccination, polio vaccination. Other countries aren't as fortunate as us, that their vaccine programmes perhaps don't cover everything, or perhaps people have come into the country that have they've come from war-torn countries. They've not had the opportunity to get vaccinated, and the polio vaccination in a lot of other countries is an oral vaccine as well, which we used to have many years ago, but now is combined with other vaccines. So that no longer do we have to administer oral polio vaccination. The downside of that is it's excreted, so in essence, it goes through the whole body. So particles can come out at the other end, and I think that's where they found that in the sources, the water sources and sewage. But obviously that in itself is an issue because it can spread. So a big campaign down in London, but obviously that raises questions of whether it can spread elsewhere, because it's not just, obviously a lot of people do come into London. It's very multicultural, very diverse, but so is the rest of the UK.
MMR, it's not just for toddlers and children, is it? There's a really push. I remember getting the MMR when I was 18, just about to go off to uni. Still as important as ever?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, throughout the lifespan, really, because obviously, you can catch it at any age, but certainly going off to uni is a prime time. We also offer the meningitis vaccine again there to protect. Obviously, when you're getting groups of people together, you're more at risk. But yes, as Helen said, it will flag up on our systems if a booster is required, or if we haven't any record of MMR particularly. But we can check through, can't we?
We can.
And it's something that's easily done, really. Just a few moments of time, and it's very valuable cover. For your lifetime, really.
I've just had my 2 MMRs recently. Because I was born many moons ago, so I had all 3 of them as just naturally acquired immunity. But that wanes over time, and obviously, I felt there was a responsibility to protect myself and others, and with the upsurgence of measles as well, I thought perhaps now's the time, and I had no real effects. I'm absolutely fine. I've survived, no problems at all.